What's up? This is Dr. Lee, and today we're going to be talking about vibration. And everything in the world that composes this universe is based off of a vibrational frequency. So I'm sitting here in Ohio at my wife's childhood home, visiting her parents, and this house that looks like it's something solid to the touch, when you actually take a microscope at a small enough or a high enough magnification, you'd actually see that the majority of it is space, and you're having electrons that are vibrating, and the frequency that they're vibrating gives it its particular properties. So it can make it look like wood or metal or a cell or different things inside of our body. They are all based off of vibration when you get down to a low enough level. So you can look at this and you can say, well, if everything is vibration, then that just seems like it's a law of physics, because clearly you can't just go and stick your hand through the wall just because, you know, it's sitting there and it's a hard surface. It doesn't work that way. Not in this dimension, the way that we're working on. But when you start to understand things differently and you understand that everything is vibration, it does give you a different level of perspective. There's a perspective change that occurs where you can actually start to look at things and be like, what can I do then to maybe enhance my vibration? Because you're tuned in a particular way. Emotions carry a vibrational frequency, an emotional signature. Everything carries an emotional or a vibrational signature. So your emotions, the way that your body is expressing itself, the communication, your ability to communicate, the relationships that you have around one another or around you and with one another, all are based off of vibration. And you can put this to the test by thinking, like, if you're in a really crap mood, what does that invite in? That invites in like frequencies, right? You're not going to be surrounded by a bunch of happy people and you're just sitting here all pissed off and like going off on stuff and like how crap your day was, and have everybody else stay around you and continue to vibrate the way that they were, meaning stay in the same emotional state that they were in before. They will either leave or they will sink down to your level, which might actually, unfortunately, give you a bit of a high and a feel good, like, oh, you care, and actually raises your vibration, but at a cost, because you're actually dragging other people down, and so you're actually becoming an energy vampire in those circumstances. But that example is something that we've all experienced, right? We've all had bad moods. We've all had bad days, and it feels better when other people meet us there. So we want to drag them down, or we'll seek out other people that are already there. They're already there. So you've heard the idea that, or the phrase, misery loves company. That's what we're talking about here. So that vibration is something that now is a practical way that we can look at this, because when you start working on improving your vibration, what you're doing is you're improving your set point, because we can't just be fixed in the same spot all the time, right? We're gonna have good days, we're gonna have bad days. It's gonna oscillate. And that's also another fundamental in life. Everything is vibration. It has, like, vibration has peaks and it has valleys. It has peaks and it has valleys. It's a wave. It's a waveform. So we have to understand that. So if we want to be able to raise our vibration, we're going to have, just where you're at right now, your current vibrational set point, you're going to have peaks and valleys. But what we want to do is we want to take the average and we want to move your peaks and valleys up higher, so that in the future, your good days are even better and your bad days are not as bad as they were before. And this is so, so key. And this is something that we can actually do. And this is also understood and called more of like in a spiritual term of alchemy, where you're taking something, which alchemy is the idea that you can turn lead into gold. And that was more of a metaphor for the idea that you can actually take your emotions and your life and you can transmute that and you can change that, you can enhance it, and you can use that to transcend. You can transcend your past experiences, and you can turn those experiences into something better when you understand that everything comes down to vibration. And this just will absolutely change your life, because you can go through and you can seek this out. And when you seek this out and you start looking on ways that you can improve your state, knowing that you're still going to have bad days, right? And that's one of the things that I think people are hoping for, is that you'll never have another bad day again. And that's not true. But what'll happen, it'll still feel like you'll still have bad days, but if you were to have a video camera or documentary of your life, 10 years ago, and let's say you've been on this path, you're like, oh my gosh, my bad days. Your bad days back then would today, 10 years later, look just frightening to you. You go like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to live like that. I can't believe my life used to be that way. I am so grateful that I'm not there now. Now your bad days are at a much higher degree. So that your bad day might actually be like 10 years ago, something that you never even dreamed that was possible for you. And so we want to be on that journey. We want to be on that journey of being able to scale up, because some people get stuck right where they're at, and then they just constantly oscillate all throughout life. They learn lessons, they pick up lessons, and they really maybe can master that frequency and really understand it and really flesh it out. But I want to see, personally, how far can this be taken? How high can you get the frequency to go? How far can you get your frequency to go? And I found that with a concerted effort, your frequency will continue to rise, and that will be reflected in your body, on how you feel. That will be reflected in your relationships. That'll be reflected in the amount of money that you're able to make. That'll be reflected in the richness of the experiences that you have. All of it comes down to your vibration. So this is something that's very important to wrap your head around and really start to look at the world in this way. And there's so many rabbit holes. We can really dive deep on this topic, because there's different things that we can do food-wise to raise your vibration. There's a lot of things that are competing for your energy. And when you start to lose energy, you start to lose the amplitude at which you're able to vibrate at, right? We all have had food poisoning. Let's go to an extreme example. That just sucks the wind right out of you, right? Or you eat something that you shouldn't have eaten. Maybe you don't actually get food poisoning or sickness from it, but you just feel gross. You're just like, oh, why did I do that to myself? And it actually robs you of energy. It actually takes from you. There are relationships that maybe we feel like we're supposed to be in because of, I've known this person for years, and like we were friends when we were growing up, or friends in high school, or whatever it was. But man, when I'm around them, I just don't feel like I'm my best self. And, even if I'm trying to bring that other person up, I just don't feel like I can. And I actually wind up getting stuck. Like I sink down whenever I'm around those people. That's another energy drain that will start to rob you of energy. And so sometimes, unfortunately, you have to take a break from those people and allow them the ability to move up themselves. Now, I feel like there's certain relationships that matter a whole lot more on being willing to stick it out. If you're in a marriage, that's a different story. I believe it's very important that you do everything in your power to work together as a couple and raise yourselves up together. Don't try to do this as an individual journey. I mean, it's important. Obviously, it all starts individually, but you want to also raise together as a couple. Because otherwise, what I've seen happen is people start going down this path, and they wind up they wind up struggling because they're really wanting to grow, and they're doing this by themselves and haven't been able to incorporate this in with the family. And even if that limits your growth, the speed at which you're growing, I personally believe that it's important for you to do this with your significant other and with your spouse, because otherwise, what's the whole point of this journey if you're like, hey, well, I'm raising my vibration, but you suck. And you're not doing it. At some point, you're just going to get very, very frustrated, and it's going to lead to bad things. So it's important to keep your priorities tight on that, so that you can do everything that you can to rise up together. And I know certain circumstances are outside of our control. There's certain things that we can't do, but this is just my opinion on it, my 2 cents on the matter. I'm not a perfect person, and I'm not trying to say that everybody is going to be coming from that perspective, but just I've seen this happen, and so I want to avoid any bad issues if you start to go down this path if you're not doing it together. So that's another thing. But you also are going to understand that your role in life and the way that you perceive your role in life, that also is subject to your vibrational set point. So if you think that you're supposed to be something other than who you actually are, and you put on a face mask for the world, and you're pretending to be somebody that you're not, that actually robs you of energy. You might get validation for it, right? That, oh, wow, we love, based on the group that you're in, people might say, oh, we love that you're this or you're that. And you're getting props for this value structure that's not your own. It can give you a bit of a high, but what it ultimately does is it robs you blind on the backside, because now you don't feel as a person that you're worthy of the praise, because you're like, man, I'm literally this imposter. And in psychology, they call it the imposter syndrome. There's a lot of people that are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies who don't feel like they deserve the position that they're in. They feel like they're an imposter. Can you imagine that? Feel like someone who's a top level executive feeling like they're an imposter, like that if somebody really knew the real me, they would call me out as a fraud, and they would know that I didn't deserve where I'm at, because so many people put on a front, and you can get really, really good at this front, and you can really get a lot of validation, and you can go far in life on the surface for that. But this is why I think it's so important people understand their human design, and they also work to remove the front that they're putting on, so that they can become more authentic. May not be the right word for it, because that's kind of a buzzword, but they can understand more their gifts that make them unique, and be able to express that without fear of what other people will think, because your gift is going to be uniquely your own to share. But there are groups and categories from which you can understand how to use your energy, right? So if you're a generator type in human design, you have a lot of energy to go and go and go if you have the right project. If you're working on the right project, you basically have a bountiful abundance of energy, which you can just, really tackle the world. It's an amazing design to have. I'm a projector, and I don't have an amazing abundance of energy. So for me, even if I'm doing the right thing, just going and going and going and going and doing project after project, it will completely destroy me. That's not my best use of energy. So if you understand your perspective and your best use of energy through human design, it can be an extremely valuable tool from which you can now start to orient yourself towards the projects and the ways to tackle a particular project or a job or a relationship in a way that's going to serve you the best, as well as, and if you're serving yourself best, it gets reflected into the world around you. And so this idea of vibration will really kind of change the way that you're looking at your life energetically, because you're going to look at things that give you energy, and you're going to look to consume more of those things that provide you with good energy, and to eliminate things that rob you of energy. And that will change your vibrational set point dramatically. So I really hope that this makes sense, and that you're able to wrap your head around this concept of vibration, that everything is vibration. And since we are also vibration, we are under a level of control of that vibration, because vibration is energy and energy is life. And that energy of vibration is something that we actually have control over to a significant degree. And that is what we want to maximize and optimize, so that we can just continue seeing what we can get out of life, and we can really enjoy life to the fullest potential. I don't like get out of life. What can life give us? Really, what can we co-create in this life together? And how do I get to be at higher levels of paradigms to where I get to see the beauty of it, right? Because there's days you can see the beauty of everything around you, and other days when you just feel like crap, you can't see the beauty of life. You can't look out and see the sunrise and look at how amazing that sunrise is. You're just not there. You don't have that lens. You don't have that perspective. It's not available to you because your vibration is too low. So when you raise up your vibration, life gets more beautiful. The little things become more beautiful, and that's what we want to see. That way we realize that we don't have to go out and achieve and do all these things in order to, get other people's approval that we don't even care about, and they don't care about us, so that we can, go out and buy more crap that really doesn't actually bring us any fulfillment. Instead, we can get that fulfillment from within, get our health up, and have this life where everything that we look at is amazing, and everything that we seemingly touch turns to gold, and we can alchemize our life's expression to its fullest potential, which is a much higher vibration than we're currently at. So I hope that resonates, and we will talk to you on the next video.